Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here today, Mr. Dodaro, and congratulations on your upcoming retirement. For the past 4 years, Democrats have been in control of basically all government functions for the American people. We are at $36 trillion in debt, and the lies are getting to be outrageous. Just listen to one of my colleagues talk about Medicaid. The truth is, for people watching at home, your Medicaid benefits cannot get cut unless the governor of your state and the state cuts your benefits. That's the real truth. Republicans here in Washington, here in Congress, we are not taking away anyone's Medicaid benefits. As a matter of fact, we're trying to cut out improper payments. We're trying to cut out fraud. At my DOJ subcommittee, I had a hearing just 2 weeks ago where we talked about improper payments. It is unbelievable, and I'm sure you would agree, Mr. Dodaro, that the amount of money that's being paid to dead people, to foreigners, to criminals, to terrorists is amounting in the billions and billions of dollars every single year. That's what Democrats and Republicans should be agreeing on. We should be.
Welcome back, Patriots. Today, we're taking a closer look at Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene's questioning of the Comptroller General of the United States during a recent congressional hearing. Her remarks delivered a piercing indictment of our federal spending priorities and government accountability, or more accurately, the lack thereof. Whether you're a concerned taxpayer, a defender of fiscal discipline, or simply tired of watching Washington hemorrhage money without consequence, this is a discussion that demands your attention. Let's start with the core issue here. $36 trillion in national debt. That number isn't just a political talking point, it's a reflection of decades of unsustainable spending, largely driven by bloated entitlement programs, unchecked bureaucratic growth, and, as Greene pointed out, rampant fraud and mismanagement.
We should be able to come together and say, let's stop this immediately. Another thing that I find outrageous is that Democrats under the Biden administration passed $7.5 billion in spending to build 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations all over the country, whether Americans wanted them or not. But only 8 of these electric vehicle charging stations even got built. I think that should have been in your top 25 list, because where's that money? Honestly, where is that money? That's a great question. Some other things that I'd like to bring up to you here is GOA estimates that total fraud in these programs for unemployment insurance, and you were just talking about it, during the pandemic is at least $60 billion. Americans all over the country will never forget that Democrats shut our country down, shut our businesses down. People got fired. Their churches was closed. All their rights were taken away. And $60 billion from the Department of Labor. The Department of Labor has still not developed an anti-fraud strategy, even though $60 billion is missing. Also, the Medicare program and scale of Medicare spending is innately high risk, with the program spending an estimated $1 trillion in 2024. Of that, in fiscal year 2024, we saw roughly, I'll go back to improper payments again, $54.3 billion in improper payments. And we have Democrats crying over Elon Musk. Are you kidding me? The American people, the polling is out, 72% Democrats and Republicans support DOJ. Support it, 72%. They are not upset about anything that Elon Musk is doing. As a matter of fact, they're happy. They want their 50, they want all these improper payments, all of this waste, they want it back. Now, here's what's really interesting to me. Despite this significant progress made since GOA's 2023 high-risk update, thank you for that, USPS remains unable to fund its services and employee obligations. That's outrageous. Private companies have to be able to fund everything they do, but the United States Postal Service still can't do it. Now, the big one, the Department of Defense Financial Management first appeared on the high-risk list in 1995. 1995. Hey, I graduated from high school in 1992. That's a long time ago. Now, and it remains on this list 28 years later. 28 years later, Congress hasn't fixed this. The Department of Defense hasn't fixed this. And last year, the Pentagon, with a budget of around $850 billion, failed its 7th straight audit. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is not this. We should be at the most bipartisan time in history where Republicans and Democrats can come together and say the American people's money is being stolen. It is being lost. It is outright treason to treat the American people this way. Mr. Dodaro, I'm sorry. Let me ask you this question. And I can't imagine all the things you all have seen in your work. Do you disagree with the effort of DOGE?
There's probably nobody in the government that wants the government to be more efficient and effective than we do at the GAO, and I do personally. Mm-hmm. That's our job, to help do that, and we've worked many, many years in order to bring about those changes. So yes. Now there's a couple of bipartisan things that you touched on that I think you and your committee, this committee, could do. Mm-hmm. One is we've recommended that they make, in order to stop paying dead people, the Social Security master death file is given to Treasury, but only for a 3-year period. They've already saved millions of dollars. Congress needs to make it permanent. You could save hundreds of millions of dollars if that's done.
Can I get information from your team
Absolutely.
Afterward? Okay,
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
And
what about identity verification?
Identity verification needs to be more automated, and we have recommendations for that to occur in the unemployment insurance area. Actually, the unemployment insurance estimate on fraud we made was $100 billion to $135 billion.
Wow.
The other thing that could be done on a bipartisan basis is that the statute of limitations to go after the fraudsters needs to be extended from 5 to 10 years. Mm-hmm. Congress did it for the Paycheck Protection Program, but not for unemployment insurance. It's almost due to expire. So if Congress doesn't act soon, some of the fraudsters are likely to get away because they'll be outside the statute of limitations. So those things are really important. And I think should be bipartisan.
I agree. I think my time's up. Thank you, Mr. Dodaro.
Now, ask yourself this. How is it possible that in the greatest nation on earth, we are still paying out billions of dollars to dead people, foreign nationals, and even incarcerated criminals? These are not isolated incidents. The Government Accountability Office, our nation's watchdog, has documented this repeatedly. Yet, very little has changed. Greene rightly focused on a critical issue: improper payments. In 2024 alone, the Medicare program saw over $54 billion in such waste. That's not a rounding error. That's a systemic failure. When Republicans talk about cutting government waste, this is exactly what we mean: not cutting grandma's benefits, but stopping billions from going out the door to ineligible recipients. Now, let's talk about the Department of Labor, which during the pandemic let an estimated $100 to $135 billion in unemployment insurance fraud slip through its fingers. And despite this, the department still hasn't implemented a comprehensive anti-fraud strategy. Greene is absolutely justified in calling this out. That isn't just poor management, it's negligence on a national scale. And while Washington was busy doling out pandemic handouts and shutting down small businesses, they were also pushing ahead with a $7.5 billion electric vehicle charging scheme. Guess how many charging stations have been completed? 8. Not 8,000. Just 8. If a private company burned through billions and delivered 8 products, its executives will be facing shareholders with pitchforks. In government, no accountability, just more funding. Greene's questioning didn't stop there. She zeroed in on the United States Postal Service, a federal agency that, despite multiple interventions, still can't seem to fund its operations or its employees. Meanwhile, the Department of Defense, with its $850 billion budget, has failed 7 straight audits and remains on the GAO's high-risk list since 1995. Let me be clear here. The men and women in uniform deserve every resource to do their job. But when the Pentagon can't track its finances year after year, that's not national security, it's national embarrassment. Greene's passion is palpable, but more importantly, it's grounded in data. And here's where the Comptroller General, Mr. Dodaro, provided some hope, offering bipartisan reforms such as automating identity verification systems and permanently granting Treasury access to the Social Security master death file, which should save billions by preventing payments to the deceased. Congress has had these recommendations for years. Why haven't they acted? One of the most urgent warnings came at the end. The statute of limitations for prosecuting unemployment fraudsters is about to expire. If Congress doesn't act, billions in fraud will go unpunished. Let me say that again, criminals could get away with stealing from the American taxpayer because lawmakers fail to do their jobs. At some point, we have to ask, who is government really working for? Because it doesn't seem like it's for the taxpayers. Congresswoman Greene is doing what few in Washington have the backbone to do, calling out systemic waste and demanding results. Agree with her politics or not, this hearing shows she's laser-focused on protecting your hard-earned dollars. This shouldn't be a partisan issue. Fraud, waste, and corruption in the federal bureaucracy are an insult to every working American who plays by the rules and pays their taxes. So here's the takeaway. We need more oversight. We need stronger enforcement. And we need members of Congress on both sides of the aisle to stop playing political games and start respecting the people who fund this government. If you value accountability, efficiency, and constitutional government, make your voice heard. Support reform. Share this video. And as always, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay patriotic. God bless America.